Hey guys, what's up? It's Rachel back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the best spring and summer eyeshadow palettes. So I don't have any updates in this video, except I'm going to go ahead and mention some of these palettes are on the older side and some of these palettes are newer. I just have a mixture because I feel like these are palettes that I will actually be grabbing for this spring and summer. So I wanted to talk about what I will be using and what I recommend for you guys as well. Something else I like about this is some of these older palettes, you all may have these in your collection, so it's not something that you feel the need to go out and buy. But like I said before, I do have some newer palettes in here as well. But other than that, I don't have any updates in this video, except if you guys are new here, welcome to my channel. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you'd like, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and you can also hit that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and get started talking about these palettes. So the first palette I'm going to mention is one that's kind of like controversial, but I really do think it's a beautiful summer palette. This is the new Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette with Morphe. And again, my finger is still cut, so don't mind that. But this is what the packaging looks like. This palette is absolutely stunning, and I feel like I'm going to get so much use out of this in the summertime. You have just really bright purples and fuchsia shades, and those red and berry tones and oranges. This shade right here is absolutely stunning. I'm so excited to use this, and you have really pretty transition shades in here as well. I feel like the color selection is very unique. A lot of people was talking that when they saw this palette, and when they got this palette in the mail, they were talking that some of these colors just are so unique, and I can definitely see that. So I'm really excited to play with this. And if you don't own it, I highly suggest going in store, well, when you can go in store and looking at it, just because I just feel like if you thought that you wouldn't want this palette, I feel like you might change your mind when you see it in person. Absolutely stunning. I love the shades in here. I'm so excited to get a lot of use out of this in the summer. These bright, bold shades are so pretty. Those pinks and oranges and fuchsias, really, really pretty. And also what I like about this is this palette is so different than her first palette, which I really appreciate. So I highly recommend this palette. I think it's gorgeous. Definitely will be playing with this in the summer. The next palette I have here to talk about is another Morphe palette, and I actually hauled this in a previous haul video as well. This is the 35i Icy Fantasy palette, and this is the packaging. The packaging is really pretty on this, and I've noticed that pastels are actually a trend here at the moment for this summer and spring. There's a lot of pastel palettes coming out, so you have a lot of options to choose from, but this is the one that really spoke to me. I have seen so many videos on this palette, and it's absolutely stunning. The looks that people create are just so unique and pretty. So this is what the palette looks like on the inside. Again, I've seen so many people using this palette, and it influenced me to buy this. This is an older palette, and I had never seen this palette. Like I said in my haul video, this is like a month or two old, I feel like. I had never even seen that it was released. Really, really pretty. Again, pastels are the trend for this spring and summer, so if you're into it or you want to just try it, I would definitely suggest the Morphe palette, only because if you don't have a lot of pastel shades in your collection, you don't have any at all, this would be a good way to try them. And the price is not crazy high as well, so you can try them and see if you like them, or you can just have this palette and this will be like your summer palette, so when summer comes around and you want those pastels, you have them, and you don't feel the need to go out and pay outrageous for a pastel palette that you're only going to use during the summer. So highly recommend this palette. I think it's gorgeous, and I'm really excited to be using this in the spring and summer. Really, really pretty. The next palette I have here to talk about is one that I just recently got in the mail. I had mentioned that I had ordered this palette, but it hadn't come in yet. This is the new Urban Decay Wired palette. So if you guys haven't seen this, this has taken place of the Electric palette. The Electric palette was a very popular palette from Urban Decay, and I don't understand why they discontinued that palette, but it was absolutely stunning. I still have it, and I'm about to show it to you guys as well. But this is what the Wired palette looks like. So the packaging is really cute. It's really Urban Decay, and then when you open it up, this is what you have going on. I feel like these are intense, but I will say they're more so on the lighter pastel side. Like I said before, pastels are the trend for this spring and summer, and I feel like this is going to be a really pretty spring and summer palette. Really excited to play with this. I feel like this is more lighter than the Urban Decay Electric palette, but I'm not disappointed with it. I think it's really pretty, and I'm really excited to play with this. I have swatched on the colors. I haven't necessarily played with them on my eyes, but these look so pretty. And this pink called Savage here, this is actually in the Electric palette as well, so I'm really excited. I love pink eyeshadow. I love to do bold pink looks. I think they're really flattering, but really pretty shades. Again, the only difference that I can really see in here is this one is more lighter, more pastel, well than the electric palette, while the electric palette is much more bold, but really, really pretty. I feel like this is going to be a really pretty spring and summer palette, and I feel like a lot of people will actually really like this, especially if you're into color. But with that being said, I wanted to mention the electric palette just because I feel like a lot of people own this, and I know for myself, me personally, I'm going to be grabbing for this palette as well in the spring and summer. It's just one of my favorites. It's one of my go-tos. I feel like this is one of the best bright palettes that has ever been made, in my opinion. So again, this is the Urban Decay electric palette. The wired palette is what took this palette's place. You can no longer get this, but again, I feel like a lot of people already own this, so I wanted to bring it up. Absolutely stunning. You can tell that I have definitely used mine. Really, really pretty. I've done stand-alone looks with just this palette, pulling in no other eyeshadows, no other palette. So really, really pretty. These are really bold. These are pressed pigments, so they will stain your eyes. I've had them stain my eyes. I don't really find the problem with that. I don't mind it. It comes off eventually, and I just put concealer over my eyes if I'm going to do another look and need to erase what was left behind. But absolutely stunning colors. This is just a classic. I'm really sad that they discontinued this. I wish that they would bring it back because it's such a good palette, and I feel like a lot of people really rave about this, so I don't understand why they would take it off the market in the first place. But really, really pretty, and if you have this, pull it out in the spring and summer because it's absolutely stunning. The next palette I have here is from Jeffree Star, and this is the Jawbreaker palette, so I definitely had to mention this in this video. This is so nice. It's so many bright, bold shades. You have so many unique colors in this palette as well. Really, really pretty, and the formula is absolutely amazing. This pastel purple right here is one of the best purples that I have ever used. It's so easy to blend, but not only that, when you blend it, it still looks like how it looks in the pan. You still have that full pigment, which is really rare because usually when you have shades like this, they blend away, or they're chalky, or they have no pigment. They kind of just, like I said, they just blend away. This doesn't. It really packs a punch, and it looks really, really pretty. If you put this on your eyes, it'll look the same way as it does in the pan, so absolutely stunning. This is one of my favorite purples. If not, this is my favorite purple. I love it, and I grab for this palette a lot just for that purple. And I also use the shade right here called Cotton Candy. It's like a very bold, pretty metallic pink. Absolutely stunning. You have so many pretty colors in here, and again, Jeffree Star's formula is absolutely amazing. I love this palette, and I highly recommend it. I feel like it's a very pretty spring and summer palette, especially if you are into color. With that being said, I had to mention the Mini Jawbreaker palette. So this is just the baby one. Maybe if you don't want to commit to a full brights palette, like a big, larger palette, then you could get this one because it has some really pretty summer shades in here as well. It has like pretty purples and a really pretty coral. You just have some really unique shades in here, and I really do appreciate that about Jeffree Star. You can find colors in his palettes that maybe you've never seen before. I know I have personally, and his formula, like I said, it can't be beat. So this is what it looks like on the inside. You can tell I've used it. I don't know if you're seeing that on camera, but this shade right here, this coral, is so nice. It's so pretty. And this purple right here, pretty much all the shades, but this one right here has like a duochrome shift in it. It's absolutely stunning, so pretty, and this is a standalone palette. You don't have to pull in other palettes. You can get looks with just this palette, so I highly recommend it. It's really pretty, and like I said before, if you don't want to commit to buying the larger palette with all those bright shades because you don't feel like you'd use it enough, you feel like you'd only use it during the spring and summer, I would definitely go with the mini one. The formula is the exact same as in the big palette, so I don't feel like you'd be disappointed at all. I had to give a quick mention to my Tarte Make Believe in Yourself palette. Now you can't get this palette anymore, but it's absolutely stunning, and I feel like a lot of people do own this palette, so I wanted to give it a mention. I have used this palette so much. This is what it looks like on the inside, and I actually used this palette on my wedding day as well, so that's really saying a lot. These metallics are so pretty, and some of them have like a wet texture to them. Really, really pretty. This is one of my favorite Tarte palettes. Absolutely stunning. I highly recommend if you do have this palette, you pull it out during the spring and summer. I feel like it's so pretty. The formula down to the colors, just a really good solid palette. This was a really solid release from Tarte, and I just wanted to give it a mention because I feel like it deserves it. So if you have this palette, definitely pull this out and use it. It's really, really pretty. I also wanted to give these palettes a mention, and I know for a fact that you can still get these palettes. These are from Too Faced, and this is from their Tutti Frutti collection. I have the Razzle Dazzle Berry eyeshadow palette, and I also have the Sparkling Pineapple eyeshadow palette. So this is what the Razzle Dazzle Berry one looks like. This is really really pretty. I wanted to give it a mention in case you guys had this. This is really pretty for the spring and summer, especially if you're into purples. You have really pretty shades in here, and it has a really pretty formula to it as well. And it is a standalone palette. I highly recommend it. And I know that you can get some type of deal on this palette right now where you can get this and like a mascara and maybe something else for like $30 some when the palette alone is around the same price. So I highly suggest checking that out. I saw it on Ulta. And this one right here is the Sparkling Pineapple Palette. So this is what the packaging looks like. Again, I just wanted to give you guys some older options that you may already have in your collection so you don't feel the need to go out and buy some of the new releases. And this is what it looks like on the inside if you guys are curious. Really, really pretty. And these shades are stunning. So pretty. You can get those bronzy looks with this palette as well. And I like that this is also a standalone palette. I had to give this one a mention as well. This is the Too Faced Life's a Festival Peace, Love, and Unicorns palette. This palette did end up at like a TJ Maxx or Marshalls at one time, so maybe you can find it there, but I feel like a lot of people have this palette, so I wanted to give it a mention. This palette is so good. The formula in here is so easy to work with, down to the mattes and the metallics, and the metallics look wet on the lids. Really, really pretty, and I love the color selection in here as well. I feel like this was a really solid palette, but I don't feel like they keep it out that long, but I feel like a lot of people have it, so I definitely wanted to mention it. Also, like I said before, if you guys want to find this palette, you may be able to find it at like a TJ Maxx or Marshalls because I know this was popping up, but love this palette. One of my favorite formulas from Too Faced as well, and this is a really pretty spring and summer palette. The next palette I have here is one that I feel like a lot of people have, and I feel like a lot of people went crazy over this palette, and I can definitely understand why. It's absolutely stunning. This is the Desi and Katie Friendcation palette from Dose of Colors. Absolutely stunning. I love these shades. The formula in here is perfection. You can't get better than this, I don't feel like. This is what it looks like on the inside. The colors in here are just so pretty. I love the combination that they picked. Really, really pretty. The formula is really nice, and I can't say enough good things about it. Again, if you have this, pull it out. Really, really pretty. You can definitely do like a day to night look with this palette. Absolutely stunning, and this is a really pretty spring and summer palette in my opinion, but not only that, I feel like this is a really pretty fall palette as well. The last palette I have here is from Urban Decay, and this is a palette that I mentioned not too long ago in a video. I was talking about influencer collabs. So this is the Kristen Leanne palette. This is what the packaging looks like. Again, I wanted to mention this in case you do own it. I feel like this is a really pretty spring and summer palette, and I know for a fact that I will be pulling this out as well, along with all these palettes. So this is what it looks like on the inside. You just have really bold shades. Absolutely stunning. The pigment on this is crazy, and I like the fact that it has like the shapes all around. Like it's a little like unorganized. I like it, and I did mention this in that video, so definitely go check that video out. I talked about influencer collabs and what I thought of them, because like I said in that video, I buy a lot of influencer product releases, whether that be their own brand or if they collab with a brand, and I just wanted to give my opinions on what I had. And I'm also going to do like a part 2, 3, 4, 5 because I have so many influencer collabs, it's crazy, so I'll definitely do those. I really like doing those. They're fun for me. But anyway, if you guys have this palette, I highly recommend pulling it out. It's absolutely stunning, and I know that people was finding this at like a Nordstrom, so if you are curious and you do want this, I highly suggest going to Nordstrom or at least online right now. I know it's crazy right now about getting out, so don't do that, but really, really pretty. Like I said, if you have this, pull it out. It's absolutely stunning. The last two palettes I'm going to mention are from Flower Beauty, and this is the Sugar Rush palette. This is a dupe for the NARS Ignited palette. If you've been here on my channel for a while, you know that I absolutely love NARS. The NARS Ignited palette and the NARS Wanted palette are some of my favorites. They're my absolute favorite palettes ever. Like I could get rid of all my makeup and keep my NARS palettes and be 100% satisfied. But this is what it looks like. It is a dupe for the Ignited palette from NARS. Really, really pretty. I don't think you can tell on camera, but some of these have like a really pretty duochrome shift, and they're really glittery as well. You can get really pretty eye looks with this, and I just feel like it's a really pretty spring and summer palette, so I wanted to give this one a mention as well. Along with that, I wanted to mention the Sun Blazing palette from Flower Beauty. Now this is a warm tone palette, and it has some pretty bronzy golds in here and just really pretty warm tones, and I feel like this is really pretty for the summer as well. Something else I wanted to mention about this palette, I have put this in dupes videos, mini dupe videos that I've done here on my channel. This is like a dupe for the Natasha Denona Sunset palette, and this actually dupes a lot of things. This dupes the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette as well. Just a lot of things, and the formula on these palettes are just so nice. You get really pretty looks, and I definitely suggest going and picking these up for the spring and summer. I'm telling you guys, if you could see these in person or if you own these, then you know that these are just so pretty and so glittery, and you can just get really pretty, gorgeous looks with these palettes. And I don't feel like these palettes are raved about enough, and I don't feel like a lot of people know that these are that good. And I wouldn't tell you guys that if I didn't really believe it, but absolutely stunning, and I highly recommend going and picking these up because I don't feel like you'd be disappointed at all. But other than that, that is everything. That is all the palettes that I recommend for spring and summer 2020. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I just want to thank you guys so much for being here and liking and commenting. It honestly means the world, and don't think that you go unnoticed because I truly see you, and I truly do appreciate each and every one of you. But before you go, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell below so you're notified every time I upload a video. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video.